Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to be going on to part 2 of the story I covered earlier, all about the guy who's telling his story about how, story 15 years in the making, how his gold digger girlfriend from college just cheated on him, and he found out about it and had a funny way of handling things, and now you're going to see where things pick up from that point on. And I don't need to go into further details about the recap because you guys all know about what's going on here. And now we're going to get into his breakup with her, his starting his career, doing well, and eventually you're going to see how she certainly comes back, as they all do one day, especially when they have reason, and see how this guy handles things with her, etc. So it picks up, it says here, I've been angry when I first confirmed things, but R-pilling, talking to my friends, and a couple days to think, allowed me to control my temper and stay calm. I was surprised now I was talking to her. I realized I truly don't give a crap anymore. She was just a stranger, someone I never really knew and needed to get out of my life. From the smug look on Jenny's face, she clearly expected me to blow up, cry, or beg. Well, good for you, because as I always tell guys, don't give them a reaction. As hard as it is, certainly don't cry and beg, for God's sakes. Instead, I just shrugged it and let things play out. Writing for the comedy club, I had seen no reason not to prepare a wee comedy surprise for her as I threw her ass out the door. I had my lines prepared, and a younger, hotter hooker in a red dress waiting in the parking lot with Chuck and my brothers. What could be going on there? I forwarded everything from Jenny's phone across to mine and Chuck's, and then said, you're not a bad lay, but we're done. I finished with, I was looking for an upgrade anyhow. She looked dumb as a bag of hammers, and for only the second time since I've known her, didn't seem to know what to say. She'd clearly been looking for me to get angry so she could rub in splitting up with me, but had no such luck. I said, by the way, all your stuff has been moved out. Like a switch was thrown, she started to cry and beg. Oh, what happened to Miss Smug? I know everything, and you're so Miss High and Mighty. Now she's crying and begging. She didn't mean it. It was all a mistake, blah, 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 blah. I just moved to the door as she swore and pleaded with me, while also trying to hit me. Glad I had the phone on record. Crappy quality in those days, but good enough. God knows what she might have done to try to make things without a recording. My old man was right as usual. Yep, guys, always have a recording. Just make sure it's not illegal. It says, great timing. Chuck and my bros sent the hooker right up on time as she arrived, just as I showed Jenny the door. In came the hottest young blonde I could hire for $200. He says, you get a lot more for a hooker for your bucks back then. She was smoking hot, looked great in her short red dress. I said to Jenny, meet Amy, she's your replacement. Bro, this is awesome. Now, you mentioned being R-pilled back then. Now, obviously, I'm supposing that wasn't really the term back then, but it meant the behavior and your mindset was of what we would call R-pill nowadays. Then the yelling and screaming really started. Well, I'm surprised it didn't start already. It was great watching Jenny's reaction, especially as the hooker bolted back out the door with Jenny screaming after her. I thought it'd been bad before. Now Jenny was really pissed off. I called out, bye Amy, catch you later, and waved as the hooker made it to the stairs. Jenny gave up and tried to turn back on me, all the while screaming and trying to hit me. Violence, while you're recording? She had gone totally full psycho. Of course, I didn't make things better because I couldn't stop cracking up laughing at her reaction as I filmed her. Mind you, this is the girl's been cheating on you for quite some time now, and all smug about it and looking for your replacement because she was under the impression that you had no money, you weren't going anywhere, didn't come from money. Meanwhile, you actually come from money and are going somewhere in life. With the screaming, the super and the security came and finally managed to escort Jenny from the property. I told them earlier that I was banning Jenny from the building as we were breaking up and asked them to be a hand if things went south. And no, I didn't screw the hooker, though I did consider having the apartment Lysoled afterwards, not even going there. Yeah, well, if you did, you did. I showed Jenny's parents the chats and emails the next day, after being called every insulting name under the sun by her mother. Jenny naturally blamed me for her cheating on me with my new girl. This is why you never let the girl control the narrative. She's blaming you. She's blaming her cheating on you cheating first or some nonsense like that. Her father is a good guy and apologized for Jenny's behavior once he saw the emails and texts, and I explained what I had done and why. He seemed genuinely sad for me and for Jenny. Yeah, because the dad realized you're a good guy. He wanted a decent guy for his nutcase daughter. Her mother acted like a total bee and made every excuse possible to justify Jenny's behavior. Yeah, probably because the mother's just like her. A couple days later, I had shown her the texts and emails her mom called to start off where she left off last time. She told me that I needed to take Jenny back. Jenny made an awful mistake, but she really does love you. There you go. Those mothers, huh? Acorn doesn't fall far from the tree. Mom wants you back too because she realizes you are the best prospect for her daughter. I told her it all looked pretty pre-planned to me, and Jenny had been screwing around for months, so no excuses and not forgivable. Her mother got nasty and told me that I couldn't do better, being who I was, referring to me as being mixed race. Well, you'll be able to show her mother in time, my friend. Now, that's the best she can do. That shows how pathetic she is. That pissed me off, and I told her at least the hooker charged by the hour. What's your rate? Don't call me again. Then I hung up the phone. That's awesome, bro. Oh, and believe me, Jenny's mom definitely, well, in one form or another, was of that profession. It sounded to me like Jenny's mother was a cheater as well, but I didn't say anything to her husband as it was his marriage, his business, and I had no proof. My brothers, cousin, and Chuck high-fived me after Jenny was gone. And the next hunting trip, we all split my hoe bottle. Even my mom's father, Uncle Rob, said it best. To Kyle, and welcome to the club of men in the family who've all fucked up in the same way. Guys, we all fuck up, all right? And there isn't a guy watching this that hasn't at least effed up with some girl that they know darn well they should have been involved with, or acted like a bonehead, acted like a jackass, whatever. Unless, of course, never been in a relationship or dated. Believe me, I have my screw-ups, and that taught me a lot. Despite me going no contact with her and having a new boyfriend, Jenny called me on different phones and left messages and emails on chat sites, crying and pleading for over a year. Yeah, she realized what she lost. And the power of breaking up with a girl. They can't take rejection. She acted like a nutbag, and I was surprised I haven't even really noticed how crazy she was before. Even after being banned from my building, she tried coming around to see me at my apartment and at work. Dude, restraining order. All her girlfriends told me that what a bastard I was for not taking her back, even though they had encouraged her to cheat. Sounds about right. Of course, and their perception of you is that you're nice, even though you didn't always act so nice. They could shame you and then take it back. And this is like 15 years ago, guys. 10, 15 years ago. The tactics don't change. This, along with all their modern woman crap, that it was their right to experiment. But of course, the same rules don't apply when guys screw around. That just makes the guy a bastard. Of course. Total double standard. I never told Jenny's new boyfriend Jenny was still trying to hook up with me and visiting clubs. He knew I was with her when he was cheating with her. I figured he got what he paid for, and anything she did to him, he had it coming. Of course she's going to cheat on him. Damn right. My joke with the hooker made the rounds, and my friends and uncles all thought it was hilarious. My old man said it would have been better to just cut her off cleanly, but it certainly made him laugh. He also said that he and Mom thought Jenny was a lot more nuts than I realized, and to definitely stay no contact. They were just glad I hadn't married her, but hadn't said anything before. My decisions as an adult were my decisions, as were the consequences. But they would always be there for me if I needed them. Yeah, well, I get that part from the parenting aspect. I do and respect that. But if you were going to go marry that broad, in my opinion, they most certainly should have spoken up, regardless of the whole philosophy that your successes are yours and your failures are yours, because that's going to impact your whole family. My sister and mother seemed to think I had let Jenny off too lightly. Lucky for Jenny, she never saw Tiger Mom in action. It wouldn't have ended very well. Mom's trust in Jenny and her mother had always been zero, something I knew but hadn't really thought through. Looking back, Stacy, my sister, and my mom understood Jenny was way better than I did. Right from the start, I guess women know women. Yes, women know women. Don't, as Al Bundy eloquently once said, don't try to understand women. Women understand women, and they hate each other. I ran into Jenny's father a couple of times over the next few years as he worked locally. He didn't seem mad with my hooker joke. He suggested he was sorry and wished Jenny had understood what she had lost. I was the only decent boyfriend she ever had, and the only one that she seemed happy with. He said she was too much like her mother. Shocker. And why is this guy still with the freaking mother? More than a year later, and Jenny finally stopped harassing me. She married her rich simp, and I thought that was it. I was wrong. I graduated and we set up our company. At university, we had put a lot of research into how we would get into what was a niche and risky market. I'd run my business idea past my old man and my grandfather while at university. Both are self-made. They thought I was onto something, would point out the risks. The field is capital intensive, but Chuck and another friend of ours had a plan. We would work long hours for people in similar fields to generate our entrance fees, as well as working on ourselves. That way we could be sure we were known in the industry. We're looking at 80 plus hours a week for a couple of years at least. But if you want something, that's the price you pay. Exactly. He's out there getting experience in the field they want to go in, learn all the ropes, get known, and bust their fucking ass, and then take some chances and risks. Nothing gets handed to you, guys. You got to put in the time and put in the grind, and you got to not work hard, but also work smart and take calculated risks. That's what happens. And there's nothing like great timing as well. Don't get me wrong, but still. But if you want to be a very successful businessman and business owner, be prepared to put in a lot of freaking time. And your personal life is gonna, take a break for a while. Get your exercise in and all that. But pretty much it's gonna be at the grind time. Anybody that's had great success will tell you that. Says here, then just after graduation, I got the break of a lifetime, and something I can never thank my parents and grandfather for. A couple of days after graduation, my folks presented me with a check for $250,000. Holy shit, dude. So, most people are not going to have that kind of starter cash to get things rolling. So you definitely had a major, major leg up that most people would trust me on that. And you obviously have the backing of a family if things went bad. But it still takes a whole lot of work, risk-taking, and all that. I was shocked. They explained that the money was mine. They hadn't given it to me before graduation because my old man put it, if a man doesn't appreciate what he hasn't worked for. The money was to go towards a house, but it was mine to do with as I liked. I asked about using it in my business venture, and they said to me again, it was my money and not their business. I was sworn to silence. I wasn't allowed to tell my sisters or brothers, and they had to make their own way as I had. Otherwise, they wouldn't learn the lessons they needed to learn in life to teach them. There you go. I like that, Again, remember in college in the first part one, he went to school and he still had to work, make his own fucking money, and teach him responsibility with money and budgeting and all that, and pay for the classes that he wasn't doing so well in. That was a good job, Mom and Dad. Mom and Dad obviously had plenty of money, but they didn't flaunt it with expensive cars and giant houses and all that bullshit. When my siblings graduated and finished trade school, an apprenticeship, or started a business, they would receive similar amounts. Given we were prepared to broker deals in countries most other Americans wouldn't visit, our idea worked like a gold mine. 7 years later, we had done crazy well and did a lot of traveling to a lot of crazy places. Like everything, once you have some success, people come to you and more doors open. Bro, that is 100%. In the beginning, nobody wants anything to do with you. You have to go to everybody to get what you want. But eventually, everybody starts coming to you. Yep. After that, the risk actually goes way down, and you can then pick and choose what deals you'd go with. I followed my old man's advice and reinvested a lot of my earnings through a family trust. I didn't want to risk a prenup turnover if I got married. So yes, always prenup, but better still, set up a trust well before you get married. That's safer. Very good advice. My brother Ray had been cheated on in the meantime, but at least he hadn't moved in with his modern, empowered woman. Nevertheless, he had to drink the whole bottle, much to my delight. Jack and I, my older brother, spiked his bottle with 90% ethanol, which was really funny. Ray had the worst hangover in history. Only brothers would do that bullshit. Ray asked me how he should break up. He wanted something funny and memorable like my breakup with Jenny. Apart from the usual phones and witnesses, I ordered him a huge Jack-in-the-Box with a 3-foot pink pop-up dick. He gave it to his cheating partner when they were at their favorite cafe at the busiest time of day. She opened the present, and the huge sausage popped out, nicely garnished with a dollop of mayonnaise. A recording turned out saying, "You've been cheating, ride the big one, pink dick baby, because you can't get no more from me." You do have a family of comedians, and please tell me this is being recorded. Ray told her that they were done and walked out, leaving her with the bill and stunned audience. Priceless, and we laughed for days as we viewed the shitty 5-megapixel recording dozens of times over the next few weeks. It's now a family Christmas special every year. His former partner was not happy at all, though the cafe staff still said it was the funniest breakup they've ever seen, and they had seen more than a few. And now he says, back to Jenny. Oh boy, crazy Jenny after all these years. When I hear Jenny, I always think Forrest Gump, and she was no wonderful girl either. One of my goals was to own my own house, mortgage-free before my 30th birthday. I was doing well, and I wanted to thank my parents and grandfather at the housewarming. I couldn't have done it without them, not just because of the Kickstart money, but because of the good business advice they continued to give me. I could publicly thank them now, and everyone in the family had now received their money. Invitees were family and close friends, several of which I knew from school. I cut my hours back to a normal amount, was enjoying setting up my second business, and was now involved with someone special, Kathy. She was overseas with her parents when I had my party, just one of those things, timing things that could not have been avoided. I got to say I vetted her hard, and we've been dating quite a few years, and I was more than looking for potential red flags, and I still do. This time I was actually using all the good advice I'd been given by my old man and uncles. No way I wanted another Jenny, even if she was a freak in the sack. Good, I'm glad you learned, man. A couple weeks after the housewarming party, I received a call. I didn't recognize the phone number, but that's not unusual in my line of work. It was, wait for it, Jenny. And as I say, they always come back, guys. Now notice this is happening now years later when this guy has wealth, success, doing well. People obviously, word spreads. She said, "Hi, it's me." I recognized Jenny instantly but decided to play dumb. Long ago I'd promised the gods to only use my power of comedy for good. But with it being my evil old hoe, timing girlfriend, I figured the gods would give me a break, one or two this time. Instead I said, "Sorry, do I know you?" She said, "It's me, Jenny. I thought we might catch up." After all that, she thinks you actually want to catch up. But I've had girls reach out to me after a long time where things didn't end well and reacted the same way. It's hilarious. I pretended to think for a while and said, "Sorry, still not getting it. Jenny who?" She quickly reminded me and I said, "Oh, that Jenny. Weren't you the girl in the red dress?" I can't say I remember exactly. Didn't you marry some guy for money? Anyhow, I don't think a meetup will be happening anytime ever. Even with me blowing her off completely, she tried to keep interrupting me. She had her happy little girl voice on, but I just repeated that I was busy, didn't really remember her, but did like her red dress, and as she was married, we wouldn't be meeting up, and goodbye. I hung up and blocked the number. Good for you, man. And I'm glad you had a little fun with her. You earned it. But see, they always reach out. But this ain't over yet. It says, it takes a real nerve to try and crawl back into someone's life after you've not only cheated on them, but try to rub their face in it. Jenny knew me and knows I don't tolerate crap like hers. How she ever thought I'd let her cheating arse back in my life, I don't know. But if she was prepared to try, well, the best comedy is always based on tragedy. As soon as I hung up, I called Chuck, my brothers, and my cousin and told them that the code crazy might be about to become a problem again. I in no way wanted Jenny to screw up with what I thought I might have with Kathy. But even if I was single again, no way I wanted anyone around like Jenny ever again. Too much drama and just plain craziness. The solution: step 1, speak to my old man, friends, and family. Dad's solution: call Kathy immediately, explain the background, and get in ahead of any misunderstanding. Keep total no contact with Jenny. Have you not told your current girlfriend you've had for a few years and vetted about your crazy ex? I mean, common sense, man. But yes, if she's a good one, this Kathy girl, she's a good one, then you let her know. And get a fucking restraining order. And he says, cool, action and done. Step 2, what if Jenny didn't take no for an answer? She was definitely bitchy and destructive enough to try and put myself and Kathy on the rocks. Solution: an emergency comedy club script session. Well, several of them actually. Were whiskey assisted. We plotted out the most outrageous skits we could think of to make sure Jenny knew no meant no. We covered the usual scenarios. Jenny appears at work, at my home, at my parents' place, at a restaurant, contacts my parents, my friends, her mother, shows up unexpectedly for a chat, etc. It's easy to be spontaneously funny when you have all your lines ready beforehand. Seriously, we didn't really expect to use them, but it was fun. A great excuse for a few parties and gave us all a few great laughs. So really, BS sessions, but boy did they turn out to be useful. Step 3, gather intel. I did some ringing around and found that Jenny had spoken to a friend of mine who'd been at my housewarming party. She'd run into him a week or so later at a mutual friend's house. When she had asked about me, he had told her how things were with me, and how I had thanked my parents and grandfather for the money that had helped me build my business, and how well things have gone for me. So in other words, it wasn't until you had your big party that it really get out to how successful you are, and sure enough, word spread. What I tell you in the beginning, I mean, you're allowed to be proud of your success, don't get me wrong. But sure enough, word gets out, and next thing you know, look who's back. I'm not kidding, guys. You gotta, as best you can, keep that on the down low. So Jenny suddenly wanted contact again when she found out I was now worth X amount of money. Definitely not a coincidence. I also discovered that my friend, fortunately, had made no mention of Kathy. It just hadn't come up. Thank God for that. Neither Kathy nor myself have any real social media presence, so at least Jenny couldn't make too many problems down that route. Yeah, dude, I'm no longer on social media except for Instagram for the SSM, and one personal account on Instagram. I might have like 12 pictures with like 25 members of my family on there. That's it. That's all I have. I do not engage in social media. Not interested, don't need any drama. He says, why no social media presence? I've been asked that before, especially as I write stand-up. The main reason is my business and stand-up don't go together. I need to maintain a professional profile to be taken seriously, so I keep the two different parts of my life totally separate and have almost zero social media presence. Well, that's a very smart man, but sooner or later it'll get out. I mean, come on. The second reason, if you don't meet real people through dating or media apps, I met Kathy at our gym, where A, she looked gorgeous, and B, didn't dress or act like an OnlyFans camel toe. She turned me down nicely when I asked her out, but we met again at a boring workplace event 6 months later. At least we had the gym to talk about. That's how you should meet people, in the real world. And she still works out today? Good for me. Good, you want to be with a girl that works out and takes care of herself. Eats healthy, goes to the salon, keeps her hair looking good, her nails and all that. She's feminine, exercises. That's what you want. But of course, you got to do that too. I mean, don't get your nails done, guys, but you know what I mean. You got to take care of yourself too. Step 4, more intel. People put too much of their lives on social media, especially women, and way too much on the dating apps. Our firm needs to know its clients, and we have a policy of scrapping publicly published information on clients we don't know before they act as a broker or finder for them. A clean reputation is everything in our business. Clean reputation is everything in life, let's be honest, guys. And not many people have that anymore. I decided I would get our research guy to do a standard scrape done on Jenny on all the usual sites and apps. Forewarned is forewarned. Jenny's status was now single. She was on a couple dating apps, and there was a lot of social media posts of her and her former husband accusing each other of cheating. Shocker, she's single and needs somebody else to take care of her. Jenny was accused of sleeping with her current boss, though the boss's wife doesn't seem to know, despite the comments posted loud and bold online. What is with people on social media? Total morons to post this stuff. Jenny's old witches and bitches club was still intact, with one now divorced, one still single, and two married, but from their not very secret dating app profiles, probably cheating as well. I guarantee they're all cheating. I filed what I knew for emergency use, but deep down I just knew that the chance of Jenny leaving me alone was unlikely as the invention of accountability pill by a cervix load of feminists. With Kathy away in Europe, and with both of us having limited personal internet presence, Jenny probably thought I was still single. Not the best of results, but I bet exposing Kathy to Jenny. Step 5, get a restraining order ASAP. Thank the Lord. It's about goddamn time. You should have done that years ago. The one action I hadn't taken years ago was getting a full restraining order against Jenny. Blocked her totally and banned her from work and my apartment block. Yes, both my father and my uncle's wife, she's a lawyer, I said to get a court order based on how nuts she was, along with her tendency to slap and hit. Aha, remember when she was hitting him? And remember what he said, always save your evidence? I said, well, the older, wiser me knew to lodge a police complaint immediately, if only to make sure there was no misunderstandings as to who might have hit whom. After nearly 8 years of doing deals with a better understanding of the legal system, I went straight to my aunt and uncle. We lodged my complaint, but of course the police said it wasn't anything major and they would only take action if things got worse. The point was to get the facts down before anything could happen and ensure nothing got lied or twisted. And here's one for you, SSM. What if I had been a female complaint? I bet the police would have been on my case faster than you could say domestic abuser. You're darn right. If the situation was reversed and you were a woman, it'd be different. Jenny tried calling me a few times on different phones over the next week, but I was short, made no contact request very clear each time, and blocked each number as it was used. I also recorded my request to be left in peace each time I realized it was her on the phone. All ammunition to get that restraining order. Very smart, bro. There was radio silence for days, and then one morning there was Jenny walking through the door of my usual breakfast cafe. She tracked you down where you had breakfast. Stalker. Code Crazy was back in stalker mode. She wasn't taking no for an answer, so it was time to roll out the comedy embarrassment wagon. And actually, this would be fun. I turned on my phone recorder on and ran the Whiskey Club's comedy list of options. Jenny pretended to look around the cafe, spotted me, and then waved at me like we were old friends. She said, "Hi, Kyle. Wow, it's great to see you. Long time no see." Isn't this after you made it abundantly clear that you don't want to be around her, that you want nothing to do with her? I think we all heard it. Nope. In her mind, she is so beautiful, so desirable. She got you once, she can get you again. That's the egos you deal with. She came over looking less hot than I remembered, but still pretty good. Kathy is 5 years younger than Jenny and better looking. The 5 years difference on a party girl was obvious. You're damn right there. Jenny sat herself down, but before she could get a word in, I told her very loudly and publicly how I'd requested no contact. I repeated my quest to be left alone. I made sure I got down on record how hurt I was from her betrayal, her physical violence to me, and how she hadn't left me alone for nearly a year after we broke up. So here's the part when he's going to put on a whole scene here on purpose. Jenny started to launch into an explanation of her old behavior again, but I interrupted her again. I told her in my loud and hurt, weepy simp voice, and this was the part where she told me she had made a terrible mistake. What we had was special. I was the best thing that ever happened to her. Her former partner was abusive. Her heart only belonged to me. Her friends made her do it. She was insecure back then, blah, blah, blah. This is everything from the Hobag Handbook. Nothing changes, guys. It's always the same damn things. I gotta make that book. Jenny kept trying to interrupt, but I stole all her lines. And that is where I'm going to end part 2. 26 minutes in here, but I'm going to go to part 3 in a few more hours, guys, to wrap this whole thing up, to see how he handles her situation, what's going on behind the scenes, and where our guy is today. But it's definitely very entertaining. And again, guys, they always come back, and once they realize you got some money. So again, the big lesson of this gold digger story is don't flaunt it and all that, and just be aware. So we will continue on in a few hours.